Evening, everyone. I'd like to call this reorganization meeting of the Board of Education to order. Public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the Board Secretary in the following manner. Posting written notice on the official school bulletin board at the Administration Building on December 21st, 2020. Transmitted notice to the Courier Post and Philadelphia Inquirer on December 21st, 2020. Transmitted notice to the clerk of the Cherry Hill Township on December 21st, 2020. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this evening we will be swearing in three board candidates. Corinne Elmore Stratton, Carol Matlack, and Miriam Stern. These were our candidates that were elected at the election in November. The election results, as I have them here, we had 61,005 registered voters, 45,078 ballots were cast. And our top three vote getters were Mrs. Stern, 23,017, Mrs. Matlack, 21,284, and Mrs. Stratton at 18,240. So this evening, our first order of business will be to swear in our new board members. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Green to do that right now.
Thank you, Mrs. Sugars. For purposes of the new statute that is in effect permitting remote notarization during the current public health emergency, I am stating that this notarization and oath of office is being recorded. Also, I am going to ask individually each one of the new members, if you would unmute, I'm going to ask you in the order I see you on my screen here to confirm that the document you have in front of you is the correct document. So starting with Ms. Stern. Can you verify that the document that you have in front of you is the one that was sent to you by Deborah Tackett this afternoon?
Yes, it is.
And Ms. Elmore Stratton, can you confirm that this is the same document you received from Ms. Tackett this afternoon?
Yes.
And Ms. Matlack, is this the same document you received from Ms. Tackett this afternoon?
Yes, it is.
And if you will collectively repeat after me, when I say state your name, obviously say your name, do not say state your name. And also you do not have to, if you wish, swear to this, you can affirm instead of swearing, and no one is required to repeat the phrase, so help me God, if you do not wish to. So repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Miriam.
I need a current Elmore Stratton.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority
of the people.
So help me God.
so help me God.
I state your name.
I, Carol Matlack,
Current Elmore Stratton.
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications
that I possess the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office of member
for the office of member
of the Cherry Hill Board of Education,
of the Cherry Hill Board of Education.
am not disqualified as a voter
I'm not disqualified as a voter
pursuant to
pursuant to
RS 19:4-1
RS 19:4 4-1,
am not disqualified
am not disqualified
due to conviction of a crime or offense
due to conviction of a crime or offense
listed in
listed in
In
NJSA 18A:12-1.
NJSA
colon 12-1,
12-1.
And that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of that office
perform all the duties of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Now I have one more act for you to do, which is to sign that document in front of you. And then I will ask you to hold it up to the camera so that we may see the signature. Thank you. Very good. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sugars, I turn it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Green. And now I'm going to take an official roll call of the board. Mrs. Arroyo,
Rosie, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
oh, we see you.
I believe.
Mrs. Elmore Stratton,
Here.
Ms. Friedel,
Here.
Mrs. Matlack,
Here.
Mrs. Neary,
Here.
Mr. Avadia,
Here.
Mrs. Schultz.
Here.
Mrs. Stern,
here.
Mrs. Tom.
Here.
Okay. So at this point, we're going to open the floor for nominations for board president. Are there any nominations for board president? Mr. Avadia.
Yeah, Mrs. Neary?
Is there a second? Ms. Friedel? Any other nominations for board president? Mrs. Matlack?
I nominate Mrs. Schultz.
Is there a second?
Doesn't actually need to be a second.
Second is technically not required.
Okay,
You can ask for it, but it doesn't have to be.
all right. So let's start with Mrs. Neary. I'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Arroyo? Okay. Ms. Stratton?
I don't know what we say. Do you just say yes? Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay.
Ms. Friedel?
Yes.
Ms. Matlack?
No.
Ms. Neary?
Yes.
Mr. Avadia?
Yes.
Mrs. Schultz?
No.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Mrs. Tom?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Congratulations, Mrs. Neary. I will turn the meeting over to you for nominations for vice president.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Mrs. Sugars. Okay, so I am going to call for nominations for board vice president. Do I have a nomination for vice president? Mrs. Stratton?
I nominate Ruth Schultz. Is that the full sentence? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's formality. And do I have any other nominations, Mrs. Tong?
I will nominate Ms. Kim Fidel for vice president.
Okay, do I have any other nominations? Okay, if not, I turn it over to you, Mrs. Sugars, for the vote.
Okay, we'll start with Mrs. Schultz, Ms. Arroyo, Ms. Stratton,
Yes.
Ms. Friedel,
No.
Mrs. Matlack,
Yes.
Mrs. Neary,
No.
Mr. Avadia,
No.
Mrs. Schultz,
Yes.
Mrs. Stern,
No.
Mrs. Tong.
I think I'm not sure. Who are we nominating? Who are we voting? Is it Ms. Schultz or Mrs. Fidel?
Ms. Schultz.
Oh, no, sorry.
Okay, now we're going to do a roll call on Ms. Friedel, Ms. Arroyo, Ms. Stratton,
No. Think.
Ms. Friedel,
Yes.
Mrs. Matlack,
No.
Mrs. Neary,
Yes.
Mr. Avadia,
Yes.
Mrs. Schultz,
No.
Mrs. Stern,
Yes.
Mrs. Tong.
Yes.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now I believe, if I'm correct, we move to the appointments for 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. And I'd like to open it up for discussion. Currently, I believe, Mrs. Matlack, correct me if I have this wrong, I believe you're appointed for 4.1, and I'm not sure if you have 4.2 or if that was Mrs. Schultz. And I believe Mr. Ovadia is currently sitting on 4.3. Is that okay? Was there anyone else that wanted to serve on these committees, or did we want to go ahead and leave these? I don't want to mandate those appointments. As I know the current members serving on those, we're comfortable serving in those committees. Okay, if that's,
I'll give mine up, Lori. Somebody can take mine because I've recently taken on the mental health task force. So another member can take mine.
okay, did somebody else want to serve as a representative for the New Jersey School Boards Association?
I'd be happy to serve on that.
Okay. Mrs. Stern, you can take 4.3 for, or 4.2, I'm sorry, for the New Jersey School Boards Association. So Mrs. Matlack will remain as the Camden County School Boards Association Executive Committee. Mrs. Stern will serve on the New Jersey School Boards Association, and Mr. Avadia will remain with Camden County Educational Services Commission.
Do I have a
And then-
second?
I'll second.
Okay, and given that we're somewhat virtual for number 5, Dr. Malash?
Ms. Neary, we need a quick roll call vote. for the-
Okay. Sure.
Ms. Arroyo, Mrs. Stratton,
Yes.
Ms. Friedel,
Yes.
Mrs. Matlack,
Yes.
Mrs. Neary,
Yes.
Mr. Avadia,
Yes.
Mrs. Schultz,
Yes.
Mrs. Stern,
Yes.
Mrs. Tom.
Yes.
Okay, great. For number 5, how are we going to handle the code of ethics since we're virtual? I know typically we would sign them in person. So Paul, how do we want to handle, how is that being handled virtually?
They were
Uh,
emailed to you today by Mrs. Tackett. She requested that you fill them out. You can either drop them off or you can mail them back. She provided the address for you to mail them back to.
Okay,
So if you want to drop them off, that's fine. If you want to mail them back, that's fine as well.
okay, perfect. Okay, so I guess that brings us to number 6, designation of official newspaper for 6.1. And then I'll turn that to you, Mrs. Sugars. I believe we have to vote on that as well.
We do. I think we could probably group 5, 6, and 7 together, Mrs. Neary, and just vote on them, do a motion.
Okay.
And vote on them all at once.
Absolutely.
So do I have a motion?
Yep. Mr. Avadia.
Mr. Avati is going to make that motion. Do I have a second? Ms. Arroyo? Okay. And let's do a quick roll call. Ms. Arroyo? Mrs. Stratton?
Yes, sorry.
Ms. Friedel?
Yes.
Mrs. Matlack?
Yes.
Mrs. Neary?
Yes.
Mr. Avadia?
Yes.
Mrs. Schultz?
Yes.
Mrs. Stern?
Yes.
Mrs. Tom?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to public comments.
Okay, perfect. And then will we be bringing them in as we do usually, Mrs. Sugars?
We
I'm
can, I
not
have a few that were emailed to me today, but we have been taking the live public comment first. So I don't know, Dr. Malash is there.
Mrs. Neary, can you see on the attendees list if you want to identify the people who will speak, and then I'll bring them in?
Yeah, I'm trying to bring up the attendees list right now. And I believe the first hand that I see, and you can confirm for me, is Mrs. Bevid.
Yes.
Okay. They be bringing her in. I don't know how
Yeah,
that's.
I am. I apologize.
Okay.
It's identifying that she's using an older Zoom platform, so I had to change how we were bringing her.
Okay, no problem.
So she's in now.
Sorry about that. Okay, I'll be making my comment about in-person learning, of course. I taught in the poorest congressional district in New York City, and I saw real learning loss and learned firsthand that students never truly recover from public education shortcomings. I taught high schoolers, and most of them struggled to read and write. No matter how hard they tried or I tried, they never truly recovered the basic skills they were lacking. There are certain skills that if they're not learned early and well, kids struggle with them forever. When my family and I moved to Cherry Hill 6 years ago, after I convinced my husband that the extremely high property taxes were worth the school system, I never thought I'd be running an underground school out of my home because the public school system would refuse to adequately educate children. So now children whose parents have no choice but to work come to my home to attend virtual school. These parents and I provide our own PPE, while the PPE our tax dollars have already purchased sits unused in Cherry Hill school buildings. I started to wonder if what Cherry Hill is doing, pushing the risk away from schools with strict safety measures in place and transferring that risk to the community where parents are piecemealing solutions together, often utilizing high-risk retired relatives to fill in for childcare, is making the community less safe. Turns out it is. According to Rhode Island state data, the positivity rate for in-person learning students is 1.27%, and the positivity rate for virtual learning students is higher at 1.9%. Whatever Cherry Hill is trying to do isn't working. Virtual school isn't working, risk mitigation isn't working, and all data points to opening schools as the solution. Why do we have to fight so hard for something so obvious? I'm appealing directly to you, Dr. Malash, to put the needs of children above all else because you are the only person in Cherry Hill with power to open schools. Adults should be adapting to the needs of children, not the other way around. Children need an adequate education. It is vital to their well-being, not just now, but for the rest of their lives. Our kids have already lost so much, and hybrid is no longer enough. They need 5 days a week of school. In this case, Cherry Hill size can be an asset. We can be creative with space for the students whose families choose in-person learning. Let's act based on facts and not feelings. In-person school is safe and necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bevid. Okay, next I see Rick Short. And please remember to state your name and address.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, Rick Short, 1002 Chelton Parkway. I want to congratulate Ms. Matlack. I want to congratulate Ms. Stern, and I want to congratulate Ms. Stratton for their board win. I wish you guys the best. First off, I want to mention again the importance of ventilation and the fact that the district continues not to follow CDC guidelines, recommended to add 10% air 2 hours before school and 2 hours after school. This is a simple thing that can be done in 19 buildings. I do understand some ventilation systems are better. Let me point out that back system is better, even though you can't open the windows, but still, one more way to mitigate risk, one more way to make school safer. I'd also like to mention the possibility of at least doing temperature checks in high schools. As I've looked across the United States, the highest amount of cases occur in high school. This is data that can be found in Florida and Kentucky. I'm not making these facts up. And that is it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Okay, next I see Jill. And please state your full name and address.
Hi, my name is Jill. I'm at Echo Court, Cherry Hill. I wanted to first thank you for hearing from me. Congratulations to the new board members on their appointment, and congratulations to Ms. Neary and Ms. Friedel. We support you guys being the president and or the chair, excuse me, and vice chair. I also wanted to remind all board members that I understand that as board members, you can't make all the decisions, but that many decisions are left up to Dr. Malosh and the other administrators within this school district. However, as elected officials, it's your job to ask questions on all of our behalfs, and we want to continue to hear from you and want you to continue to ask those tough questions at meetings. We want you to continue to hold the administrators accountable because they have their jobs because the board elected for them to really have their roles. You know, you have a duty as elected officials, but they have a duty to you as well. I believe that there were other committee meetings in the past that were previously allowed to be attended by the public. And I'd like to know why 10 months into the pandemic, they're not being live streamed at this point, and when we can expect to see that done. This is being done in other districts, I believe. I also wanted to, again, acknowledge and thank our teachers because our teachers have been wonderful. It also appears that a full reopening on January 19th is most likely not going to occur because of a rise of COVID cases. I'm asking the district again to reconsider a tiered approach to reopening, beginning with the special education students and others with IEPs and 504 plans, followed by a hybrid approach for elementary school students. This is something that is literally being done in almost every single school district in this state. Every district is making sure that our most vulnerable learners are getting a quality education so they don't continue to fall behind. Their pace of learning and catching up is not the same as as other children. You know, there's plenty of research on facts on this. I think everybody on this board knows that. Most people listening in on the public know this. My children don't even qualify as those children that I'm asking for to come back to school. But I think as a community member and as a child advocate myself, I recognize that those are the children that need to be in school the most, and this district needs to make sure that happens. So I'm pleading with the district on behalf of those parents who don't know or can't speak up for themselves, for the administration to please open the school for the special education students that really need to be in the classroom the most. And again, to follow that up with a hybrid approach for the elementary school students, there could easily be an AM and PM separate sessions, so that way our classrooms aren't too full, or there could be the 2 days a week, the way that.
Okay, thank you. The next hand that I see is Mrs. Greenberg.
Hi, good evening. Lauren Greenberg, 508 Bryan Drive. Congratulations to the new appointments on the board and to Ms. Neary and Ms. Friedel. Why are committee meetings closed to the public when they used to be open? Why not live stream them like you do the BOE meetings? As elected representatives who are governed by the New Jersey School Boards Association, one of the roles of the Board of Education is to represent the concerns of the citizens, taxpayers, and parents to the administrators, and to represent the needs of the students and school district to the citizens, taxpayers, and parents of the community. How do we in the community know that the Board of Education is representing our concerns if we can't be a part of those meetings? By keeping those meetings closed, it gives the community a perception that the BOE and/or the district is trying to hide something. Right now, there is a big problem with transparency and trust in this district. Opening up the committee meetings to the public would be a good first step in reestablishing transparency and trust in the community. If there's anything positive to come out of this pandemic, it is that a lot more people in the community are now paying attention to what is going on in the Cherry Hill Public School District. You, as the new incoming Board of Education, can either use that to your advantage and listen to the voices of the community to enact change and get the next bond referendum easily passed, which is badly needed, or spend the next few years at odds with the community and have the bond fail again. Speaking of transparency and trust, after canceling school at the last minute 3 times already, how can we be sure that you are actually going to open schools on 1/19? Do you have enough staff to do so? The teachers are still teaching from their homes. Will they be returning to the schools before hybrid starts on 1/19? Again, what metrics need to be met in order to successfully open on 1/19? Our kids are suffering academically, emotionally, and socially. The social and emotional learning classes do not even begin to take the place of in-person school. And the longer the schools remain closed, the more difficult it will be to reverse the damage that is being done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I believe the next hand I see is Mindy.
Hi, Mindy Rosen, 6 Fairhaven Court. Congratulations to all the new board members and to the board. Congratulations to Mrs. Neary and Mrs. Friedel. And thank you, Mrs. Stern, for stepping up to represent us on the board of the New Jersey Board Association. I also don't understand why committee meetings can't be opened up. It really shows such a lack of transparency, and it's really troublesome. So I would urge you to open up the committee meetings, please. And it wouldn't be a meeting if I didn't ask what is happening with the ERI report. What plans are any plans in the work? What are you planning on doing in the future? I'd like to know. Okay, thanks so much.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Rosen. I don't see any other hands, Mrs. Sugars, so I'll turn it to you for the emails comments.
Our first comment is from Zoe and Jeffrey Zangrilli. 416 South Cranford Road. We ask that if the district is unable to open all 19 schools on 1/19/2021, that they open with a tiered approach, first opening for special education and elementary and so on. It is not equitable to keep younger elementary children remote learning. Older children in middle school and high school can read and write. The majority of kindergarten, first grade, and we would guess how now many second graders cannot read and write. These are the building blocks for the rest of their school careers, never mind the rest of their lives. With the best will in the world, these cannot be effectively taught over remote learning. Not being able to read and write also impacts the utility and feasibility of the entire virtual learning platform. Younger elementary students who are remote learning and need to have an adult with them to help them navigate the entire virtual day, which is not the case for older students. Our next comment is from Gary Levenbach, 4 College Lane. I'm commenting today because our youngest and most vulnerable students desperately need to return to a live learning environment this month. I'm the parent of twin boys who are first graders at Stockton Elementary. I recognize how challenging this year has been for my children's first grade teacher, and I am pleased with how hard our teacher has worked to deliver the best learning experience possible. However, virtual learning is not nearly as engaging or effective for our district's youngest learners, no matter how hard our teachers work to perfect it. If school cannot open all 19 buildings on January 19th, then any building that meets safety guidelines and staffing should open. Frankly, any self-contained classroom at the elementary school level that can return to live instruction should do so, even if all classrooms at given elementary school are not able to return. Live instruction at the elementary school level is safer for many of our children compared to how they are navigating virtual instruction today. I know that the district leadership has seen recent medical and scientific research and publications on this topic and is aware that live instruction can be delivered safely, even with the current levels of COVID spread in our community, especially at the elementary school level. Elementary classrooms are self-contained with limited interactions with individuals outside of the classroom each day. Some students who need daycare support during the day are learning in virtual environments that can involve more interactions each day than these same children who have in a contained K-5 classroom. An administration with the desire to return to live instruction wherever possible would have already figured out how to open anywhere. There are neither clear signs, active spread with the building, nor localized teacher shortage. It may be disruptive to certain stakeholders to move forward with a tiered return to live instruction for those families seeking an option for live instruction, but it is in the best interest of your most important stakeholder, the 11,000 children who desperately need courageous leadership from the administration and Board of Education. I do not believe that excuses provided previously from district administration, Cherry Hill being unable to deliver a tiered return to live instruction similar to surrounding communities simply because we are too large, is losing mentality. Where there's a will, there's a way. I am not alone in my struggle to reconcile the words of the district and board, the desires for live instruction with its own actions over the past 4 months. The district leadership is now insisting that we are ready to return to live instruction on January 19th. But the past 4 months have me wondering whether the district has the courage to follow through. If January 19th passes and the return of students to the classroom does not occur, more families will lose confidence and trust in our leadership. I am sure you all recognize the long-term risk to enrollment and waning voter enthusiasm for a bond initiative spearheaded by the current leadership if live instruction does not occur on January 19th. Please have the courage and conviction to trust the good work you have already done to ensure that live instruction is essential for our youngest and most vulnerable learners and can be delivered safely. I hope you have a will to stand for your 11,000 learners on January 19th. Our next comment is from Jeff Podowitz, 110 Kilburn Drive. I mentioned this article at the last school board meeting. It is entitled "The Perfect Suburban School is Living a Financial Nightmare. Here's Who to Blame" by Adam Clark. NewJersey.com, updated May 14, 2019, posted in June. I feel this article is a great example of the positive effects of public relations by leadership involved with Chesterfield. Please pass the PDF onto the school board members. The Chesterfield Elementary School appears to be the picture-perfect neighborhood elementary school. The new pre-K, K-6 school was finished in 2011. It has a capacity excuse me, of 912 students and includes geothermal groundwater source HVAC system and meets the U.S. Green Building Council leadership in environmental energy and environmental design. The core facility administrative wing is separated from the academic wing, thereby providing greater security in the school. But according to the article, Behind this facade of idyllic suburban school lies the truth. Chesterfield Elementary School does not have enough money and students are paying the price. There's no remedial reading program here, no school course, no clubs or after-school activities. There are too many kids and too few computers, only one guidance counselor for more than 750 students, and a budget so tight library and band were eliminated last year. How did this happen? The answer is simple. Chesterfield School District is getting cheated by the state, local officials say. Note the pre-K to sixth grade district in Burlington County received just 20 cents for every dollar in state funding, worse than any of the nearly 600 schools in New Jersey. Now they are worse than 487 school districts in New Jersey, and we in Cherry Hill are number worse than 468. At one time under SFRA, Cherry Hill was receiving 33 cents on the dollar. The state felt that was fair. Now the Chesterfield School District received 2 times the direct state aid per pupil that we do in Cherry Hill, and thanks to the newest modified SFRA funding calculations, our direct state aid to education has in effect been frozen in time for 30 years. We receive less direct state aid to education in Cherry Hill than we received 30 years ago before the massive cuts to our funding by the state. Leadership, new school board help. And our final comment is from Kim Gallagher, 1537 Hillside Drive. I request that committee meetings be made public again like they were prior to COVID. As taxpayers, we deserve to know, to be able to comment on items brought up in these meetings. I am not alone in saying that administration has lost the trust of many in the community, and keeping committee meetings private is heightened the mistrust. It is about transparency and open communication, something we deserve. And that is the end of our public comments tonight.
Okay, great, thank you. Did you have any comments, Dr. Malash, before we
Just
made a motion to adjourn?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, just a couple of follow-ups. So we are scheduled to begin again in the hybrid on Tuesday, January the 19th. Our buildings are set to go. Staff is planning to come back and be set in terms of what's going on. We continue to meet with the county health director every week, get the updates, southwest section of the state, which is where we are. Camden County, Burlington County, we continue to be in the high risk orange category. We will continue to monitor the public health reality, and take that information in. We are set with opening on the 19th of January. We are going to have a town hall meeting next Monday, the 11th of January, just to talk, see if there are questions, any last minute questions folks have the week before about the reopening. We will also be having another town hall meeting on the 19th to discuss some of the larger scale questions and information. Mrs. Wilson will be pushing out information both in our newsletter on Friday, on our website, and through social media. In terms of ventilation, if you're in the room, you'd be able to hear the unit ventilators that are running. Unit ventilators that are in our rooms and in our buildings throughout the district run. It's one of the things that, the ongoing work that our maintenance folks, the folks that do our HVAC have been working on, checking on, maintaining. They do always, but certainly with particular attention since last spring and through the summer. We circulate fresh air in our classrooms and our buildings throughout the course of the day, throughout the course of the night. I would tell you that as a school district, we go beyond what the CDC recommends to do it an hour before and an hour after, because it literally is taking place 2 hours before, 4 hours before, 8 hours before, 3 hours after, 6 hours after, where the air is being circulated continuously. And again, like I say, if you were in the building, if you're in this room, you'd be able to hear this unit ventilator blowing, going through. The dampers are checked because it brings in the fresh air from the outside and it circulates it. And they run throughout the course of the year. If there are specific questions or issues that somebody has about an individual classroom or space, again, we need to let the folks in the building know. We need to let the building principal know, the custodian needs to know, our maintenance guys need to know, so it can be checked on and it can be addressed. But bringing fresh air into our spaces goes on constantly, continuously, 24 hours a day. Committees, in terms of the committees, committees have not been live streamed. This is a discussion that's gone on with the board a number of times over the last few years. The determination by the board has always been not to live stream committee meetings because it is not a quorum of the board having a discussion. So the work that's done within committees is then reported out at the work session. Committees typically take place the first Monday and Tuesday of the month. And it's discussed at the work session, which is typically the second Tuesday of the month, so that the full board, the other 5 or 6 members or 7 members, depending upon the committee, they get to hear what was discussed in that committee meeting. committee meetings have been open when they've been meeting in person. I would expect once the board makes a determination that they want to meet back in person, the committee meetings will once again be able to welcome guests into them. Cherry Hill is one of few school districts in South Jersey, actually in the state, that does open committee meetings at all. Most committee meetings in school districts, if you check around South Jersey or throughout the state, committee meetings are typically closed in school districts. We are one of few that has had them open. Like I say, my expectation, and this will be discussed with the board, my expectation is that once the board decides that they're going to meet in person again, that those committee meetings will once again welcome members of the public to come into them. Our facilities folks continue to work with the ERI information. There are projects that have been ongoing work that's been completed over at High School West and at High School East. There are additional projects that are planned. There'll be updates, I believe, in what some of those projects are next week at the work session at the board meeting. Again, thank you to Dr. Potowitz. We will share that article that you sent. I'll share that with the board about Chesterfield. I think that is all, Mrs. Neary, for the public comments.
Okay, great. Thank you. If there is nothing else, then I would make a motion to adjourn. Did I have a second? Mrs. Arroyo? Mrs. Sugars?
All in favor? Any opposed? Have a nice evening.
Night all.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.